Hello everyone, welcome to Serendipity in Quarantine. Today we are going to see 9th Standard Science NCERT first chapter. It is about matters in our surrounding. So first we'll see what is a matter. Anything which is around us is mostly made up of matter. Even we see that in historically Indian philosopher classified there are 5 basic types of elements that are called Panchatattva, and that are air, earth, fire, sky and water. And according to them, everything is made of matter. So we will be seeing what are the physical nature of matters. So matters are made up of particles. Particles are small things which are connected with each other, and the connection forces which binds particles with each other determines what type of or what kind of matter it is. So I will not be explaining any type of the experiments which are given in the textbook. I recommend that you should read them on your own or experiment them at your home, so that it will be more practical learning. So here we'll see what are the characteristics of particle of a matter. So here they have given examples like sugar, salt, Dettol or potassium permanganate, and mostly the above experiments were dissolving these particles in water. So as before I said, these particles of matter have space between them, and how much space is in between them determines what kind of matter it is. For example, if it is a solid, then the space is less. If it is a liquid, then it is more than the space in solid, and in gaseous states the space is the largest. So one more fact, that these particles are continuously moving, and they move because of the kinetic energy they possess in between them. So if we increase the temperature, then this kinetic energy also increases and particles start moving rapidly. Sometimes two types of particles get intermixed with each other, and this is called diffusion. For example, if you mix a solid and a liquid, then it will create diffusion. Let us say if you dissolve salt in water, then we will call it is diffusion of salt in water. Here they have given example of human chain. In school we play games of human chain. So let us say that the chain is very strong, then no one can break it. So this type is observed in solid. So the chain which is the particles which create chain in solid is stronger than it is observed in liquid. So we observe that particles of matter have force acting between them, and these force keep particles together. The strength of these force of attraction from one kind of matter to another. The part which I have highlighted are important, considering they are mostly definitions, or you can use them in give reasons, questions, etc. So what is the state of matter? There are 3 main state of matter: solid, liquid and gas, and these states of matter arise due to variation of characteristics of particles of matter. So first we will be seeing solids. So solids are the matter in which they have a definite shape, distinct boundaries, fixed volumes. They are negligible, compressible. For example, if you will take a wooden piece or a book, then it has definite shape and fixed volume. One more important fact is that solids have tendency to maintain their shape even when they are subjected to outside force. If you try to imply force on a solid like a wooden stick, it will not change its shape. It will break, but it will not change its shape. Hence it will be called a rigid solid. But there is one more example. If you take a rubber band and if you apply force to it, it will stretch and it will change its shape. But when you release the force, it will again regain its original shape. But if you apply force beyond a certain limit, then that rubber band will also break. Then the second state is liquid state. So liquid state does not have fixed shape, but it has a fixed volume. If you take any container and pour liquid in it, then it will gain the shape of that container. So hence liquid which is not rigid, it can also be called as fluid. But gases are also fluid as it does not have any shape. Yes, as before we see that solid and liquid get diffused together, even gases gets diffused in the liquid. For example, gases from atmosphere diffuse into water like oxygen and carbon dioxide. We know that aquatic animals live underwater, so they require oxygen for living. So they gain oxygen which is dissolved in water. So this process is also called diffusion of oxygen into water. But whenever you will hear that the dissolved oxygen in any kind of living water body like pond is decreasing, that means that pond is polluted. So because of which fishes are dying. The rate of diffusion of liquid is higher than that of solids because the particles in liquid are far apart. So the other particles get diffused easily as compared to solids. Then the last one is gaseous state. In gaseous state, they are highly compressible as compared to solids. In our house we use gas cylinders which contain liquefied petroleum gas. So what they do, they exert pressure on this gas so that it converts from gaseous state to liquid state, and that liquid state petroleum gas is stored in our gas cylinders. One more example is CNG gas cylinders which are used in vehicles which are less polluting. So the large voluminous gas can be compressed into small cylinders. One more example is oxygen cylinders which are used in hospital. As now we all are in quarantine, we know that the importance of oxygen cylinder is the most. So in gaseous state, particles move randomly and the pressure exerted by the gas is because of the force exerted by gas particles per unit area on the wall of container. Hence, if we somehow open the gas cylinder, then there is leakage of this gas. It is because the pressure is so tremendously high, the gas will leak out. So this picture will explain what I was saying before, that the solid state has particle bounded much together. Then in liquid state they move randomly and there is space between them, and in gaseous state there is much larger space between them and they exert force on the container. Okay, now we will be seeing change of matter from one state to another state. Please read these experiments or perform them at school or at home. Yes. So what will help to change state of a matter? One factor is temperature. If you increase temperature of solid, the kinetic energy of a particle increases. So the vibration of particles increase to greater speed, and because of which the state can be changed from solid to liquid. That point we call as melting point. It is when solid is in indication of strength of force, the force of attraction between the particles. So let us take example of ice which is in solid state and it gets converted into liquid, that is water. So this happens at room temperature. So this is also known as 0 degrees Celsius, and in terms of Kelvin it is 273.15 Kelvin. So rounding up, you can take it as only 273 kelvins. Please remember this temperature, as we can use it to convert temperature from Celsius to Kelvin. So the process of melting, that is change of solid into liquid state, is also known as fusion. So the heat which we use on solid it does not change the temperature, but the heat energy is used to overcome the force of attraction between particles, and this heat energy is absorbed by ice without showing any rise in temperature. So this is called a latent heat. Latent means hidden. So the amount of heat energy that is required to change 1 kg of solids into liquid at atmospheric pressure at its melting point is known as latent heat of fusion. For example, if you heat if you heat ice, then the temperature of ice after melting will be same as that of water, but the heat energy is hidden as it was used by those particles to change the attraction between them. The temperature at which liquid starts boiling at atmospheric pressure is known as boiling point. So the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. So to convert it into Kelvin, we will add 273 plus 100. That is 373 Kelvin, because 273 is 0 Celsius. So 0 plus 100 means 100 Celsius. So these type of conversion are important in solving numericals. So here you can see that solid state gets converted into liquid state by applying heat, and liquid into gases by applying heat. But vice versa, gas can be converted into liquid by cooling it, and similarly liquid can be converted into solid by cooling it. Ice, water, water vapors, water, ice. This is the best example to understand this concept. But there are some examples that in which solid is directly converted into gaseous state, or gas is directly converted into solid. So for that, this experiment will be conducted at school. Please attend it. But one experiment which you can conduct at home is take a camphor pill and then keep it outside. Then it will get evaporated directly into the gaseous state. Or if you pour any kerosene on floor, then it will directly get evaporated into gaseous state. So this also one more example which almost you all know, that solid carbon dioxide, it is used to preserve ice creams in ice cream parlors. So what is it? It is Ca2, which is in solid state, but it directly get converted into gaseous state at 1 atmospheric pressure. Hence it is also known as dry ice. Here you can see that when liquid get converted into gas, then process is called vaporization. When gas is converted into solid, then process is called deposition. When solid gets converted into liquid, it's called fusion. And reverse, when liquids get converted into solid, it's called solidification. When solid directly gets converted into gas, it's called sublimation. And when gas gets converted into liquid, it's called condensation. The next phenomenon is evaporation. It is a phenomena that change of liquid into vapor at any temperature below its boiling point. So when we start to boil water, before boiling we see that there is water vapors are evaporating, then this process is called evaporation. These are some of the factors which you should remember, as it can be asked in long answers. The rate of evaporation increases with increase in surface area. You know that when you are drying clothes, then you keep them spread out so that surface areas increase and more evaporation takes place. Then also it increases with increase in temperature. On sunny day, the clothes get dried up very easily. It decreases in humidity. For example, if the atmosphere is humid, humidity is amount of water vapor present in air. On any cloudy day, you see that the clothes do not dry easily, and it increases with wind speed. So whenever there is a fast wind, then the clothes will dry easily. One more important factor is, why does evaporation cause cooling? So the particles of liquid absorb energy from surrounding to regain the energy lost during evaporation. And after a hot sunny day, when people sprinkle water on their roof on open ground, because there is large latent heat of vaporization of water which helps to cool the hot surface. So whenever the conversion from liquid state to gaseous state is happen, the energy of heat is used, but it does not increase the temperature. On contrary, it cools down the surface. You can also observe in, whenever a cold water bottle is kept on table, you see water droplets are formed there. So the vapor which is present in air contains some water content. It gets accumulated on that cold water bottle and it loses its energy and changes from gaseous state to liquid state. So this was the first unit of science for 9th standard. Please like and share this video if you like this. Try to perform as many experiments as you can at home and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.